Hello coders, good afternoon. I was going to do some Silas stuff today, but as I was trying to set it up before the stream, it all just fell apart. So instead, what we're going to do is some maintenance on the How to Code Well site. One being, I would like to do some upgrades, specifically around Symfony. Get it off of 5.3.6. I want to make sure that the tests still work, and just basically go through maybe the backlog of the bugs and tidy some stuff up. I've only got like an hour, so it's going to be a relatively quick stream, but I just thought that I could probably slip in some quick wins, some upgrades today. So let's get into the code, or the code window. So this is the site, and I've just ran all the unit tests and they've all passed, which is good. Means that we're in a good position to do some sort of upgrades. So what we're going to do is get into I think I've got a make file for this command. I want to do make, is it vendor? No, vendor nuke, certainly not that one. Let me go and check my make file. That's the wrong project. That's the project that I was going to do this afternoon, the Silas one. But instead, we're going to do this one. Okay, get rid of that. We don't need the terminal there. Close all those. Okay, so I just want to have a little gander around the compose.json file. So these are all at 5.3 in terms of the Symfony. So I think we could probably do with an upgrade. I haven't played with this site for a while, so I'm imagining that there's going to be a number of alterations and changes. I suppose what I should do is, first of all, before I do anything, is to create a... I mean, you can see here that there's security risks or potential security vulnerabilities on the old, I believe that's NPM sort of JavaScript stuff. Yeah, so there's that. Let's go into... Oh, there's 3 pull requests. Oh, they're the pull request from the Penderbot. That's fine. Let's go into issues. What I want to do is create an issue. We'll do an upgrade, and we'll do upgrade Symfony to 5.4. All right. And that's what we'll first attempt to do. I don't have a label for this. Is it an? I guess you would call it DevOps, and you would also do an enhancement, I suppose. Milestones by tomorrow. That's good. I'm gonna have to go through all the milestones and adjust them. I'm going to also put in upgrade other packages to allow for Symfony version to be altered, because I'm imagining there's going to be other things that I need to do on this. But the reason why I've done this is just to create a branch for me to associate this. So I'm going everywhere, aren't I? Associate this this old upgrade to. So git checkout, make git checkout. That's not going to do anything, is it? Git checkout -b -b upgrades or updates, doesn't matter. Updates Symfony. Okay, so here we go. We're in that branch, and I guess I think the first thing I need to do is just run a dry run, a composer dry run, and I'm sure I've got this in the make file. I'm sure somewhere I have dry -run. Here we go. It's composer check. All right, so let's do a composer check first. So make composer check. Okay, so what this is going to do is going to run composer -dry run against the composer image. You can see that there's a load of stuff that needs to be upgraded before we even attempt to change the version of Symfony. So you can see that even PHP stand's been updated. So the update hasn't actually been made. This is a dry run. This is telling me what will be updated. So monologue's been updated. We've got Doctrine. We've got a bunch of Symfony. AWS has been updated. The SDK there. Pretty much every Symfony component that I use. So it's pretty big. PHP stand, PHP unit. So this is telling me that there's caution, I guess. So what I'm going to do, first of all, is for the control, because I haven't used this project in a while, we're just going to run make tests, and it's going to run PHP beautifier. It's going to basically run all the stuff, right? So PHP MD is, this is my control. This is my making sure that it currently works before I even attempt to do any of this. It should all work. I haven't touched this project in a long time, and I'm running off of master or main branch, so it should be okay. Or at least the branch that I've just created is coming off of the main branch anyway. So so it's checking for the validation of the Doctrine schema to make sure that I haven't forgotten any entities that need to be refreshed. Then it's clearing the cache. Then I believe it does the unit tests. Then I think it does the integration tests. Then I think it does the acceptance tests. Yeah, so it cleans that out. It drops the database, imports the new one, does the unit tests. I know all these pass, but the unit tests do anyway. And then, so this is basically me just sort of making sure that everything works before I touch it. Now it's doing integration tests. These will take a wee bit longer because these will hit the database and then dump the database each time. Ugh, I'm in no rush tonight, so if this doesn't happen tonight, then I'm fine with that. I'm cool with that. That's no problem. It might just be a stream of me watching the command line do its thing. To be fair. So, yes. After the integration test, I think there's command tests as well. So, testing the actual Symfony commands the custom commands that I've created. Da, 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 da. There's just a lot of change here, which makes me a bit nervous, especially around things like Doctrine. I mean, it's not a massive jump from 2.13 to 2.13.2 to 2.13.3. The ORM. So we're looking at minor changes here, sort of minor bumps, nothing massive. Monologue, again, that's a minor change. In fact, I've probably pinned these down to only accept the minor changes. So I don't think it's massive. What's that? Stan. I don't think there's a big change in 8 and 9, so that's fine. So actually these don't look that scary, to be fair. Again, these are just point change. These are just minor version changes, nothing massive from 6 to 7. Nothing too scary. Some of these I don't even know what they are, like brick math. I don't know what that is. Some testing stuff there, code coverage. Why do I have? Oh, okay, fine. I was just wondering why it was broken up in two. Yeah, I can't see that there's going to be any massive change. It doesn't look that bad. I mean, that's a point change. That's a couple of points. Nothing major. Okay, where are we at now? He says, whilst this doesn't work, this looks like it's doing the... Oh, okay. This is because the mock API isn't running. Please check your internet connection. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, fine. Docker ps -a. Where are we at with that? I'm looking for mock API. Mock API is... So Selenium is down, so that's not going to help matters, is it? Because you can see how long ago I've played with this. 6 weeks, 7 weeks. K6 is down. Grafana's down. Do we have... there we go. That's what I'm looking for, the mock API. That's down too. Let's just run... I should have done this before. Docker compose... I bet these don't have restart enabled. Up-D. Docker ps-a. Okay, so that is that up now? Yeah, that's up. It's Node that's down. That's fine. That's just a sort of a sidecar jobby. Selenium's back up as well. Okay, so where did we hit on that? Where did we fail? It was within the integration test, right? Right. All right. As the unit tests are running quick, I'm going to just do make... I'll run make tests again, all right, from the top. From the top. Let's be safe. Let's play it safe. Like I said, I'm in no rush. I'm in no rush. And it'll be just my luck that one of these will fail and I'll rush past it and not realize that there's actually a bug and then go and upgrade and then end up having to upgrade and then fix something. It's that's never fun. That's never fun. So I'll do it again. When I usually do this like during the day, like if I'm working on a client's project and they've got like a make file and it's doing a load of testing or doing a pulling down something, I end up just sort of working on something else, you know, within the project. But there's not a lot I can do with this because it's touching the database, and I've fallen into the trap of trying to play with the front end code whilst the database gets changed for each test, and then failing the test because I've gone and updated something on the front end. So I've kind of snooked myself in that sense. I can't actually do anything on the code whilst these go. The unit tests were fine, but it's with these integration tests. Like I said, each time one of these tests run, it's dropping the database and then pulling it back from a known sort of static state. So if I was to change anything, it would fail because the database would just be refreshed. Well, ideally, what I need to do is run this on a separate box that I can sort of run in another container on another virtual machine somewhere, like another Docker machine. That way, I've freed up myself to actually work. But let's just wait. Let's just wait. 15 minutes of me just running the command line. I think this is probably gonna be the gist of today. Because essentially what I'll do is once this is done, we'll then do the composer update, but without the dry run, so an actual update. We'll update all the composer packages, and then we'll run the tests again. And then, once that's done, we'll then jump from Symfony 5.3 to 5.4, and then we'll run the tests again. So there's going to be a lot of this. Okay, so they all passed, and that thing that we did worked. The mock API for Stripe went through and worked. So there's 2 of these that I'm skipping. That's fine. That's all right. But they all passed. They were the command tests. Now this is going to be the longer one, because what we're doing here is doing some acceptance tests. So this is actually hitting the front end as a HTTP request via Selenium. So these will take a bit of time. And I think we're doing this in dev mode, so again the caching isn't great. So it will be slow. One thing I want to do, because we've been doing it with this Silas stuff, the ecom shop that I'm building. We're using Cypress for that, which is a JavaScript end-to-end testing framework. And I'm really liking that. I'm digging that. I really like that. So that's probably what will change in the future. We've got 48 tests, sorry, and we'll end up probably switching these all over to Cypress tests. If I can find a way of doing it in sort of a feature, sort of Gherkin sort of language kind of way, I'm sure there is. Let me see. There must be a way of doing that, right? I haven't really thought of that, to be fair. Cypress, Cypress.io. It's is it Cucumber? Is there a way I can run Cucumber Gherkin style syntax specs with Cypress? That would be cool if we could do that. How to organize the tests, install, configuration, step definitions. That's it. Given, then. So we can do it. We can do it, because I'll show you. If we go over to the tests in here and we have a look at the acceptance tests, let's take a look at features front end. One of these, for instance, these are all written in Gherkin language. So given, when, then, and that kind of stuff. You define the scenario, and then you put in sort of a scenario per feature. And each one of these corresponds to an action that is actually converted into code. So, like for example, I log into the front end, I don't see all of this gets translated back into steps. If I go to support, step, page steps. So yeah, I go to page. So I go to argument page. So that is the argument that you pass in, and it's doing this, I am on page, blah, blah, blah. So I think it's using the WebDriver to work that out from, the raw code level. And, I've got a bunch of stuff in here. So I see error, so I'm looking for that argument within this selector. So what I'm saying is, if I can do that in the wonderful world of Cypress, which apparently I can. You pass in the argument there, int, and so that would be value. Yeah, value. So that's how they write it. So given counter has been reset, scenario basic 1, when counter is incremented, then counter equals to 1. Scenario 2, when counter is incremented, then the counter equals 2. Yeah. Ah, yeah, and that's how it gets translated, right? That's nice. Yeah, so maybe we can do this. I think, whilst we wait for all of these to do their thing, I think what I'll do is I'll write myself a nice little ticket in issues. It's a new issue. It's going to be test. Convert all acceptance tests to Cypress. So these are all codeception acceptance tests to Cypress. I'm gonna give this a milestone of a late one. Projects is obviously that one. Labels is, do we have anything to do with yeah, we do. Sweet. And of course it's me. So what needs to be tested? So we need to look at this. Let's take it back to... So the first thing we need to do is install the Cucumber pre-processor, which is that one. We also need to install Cypress. There's other things that we need to do as well. We need to create a script that refreshes the database from a given state to a given state. What needs to be done? We can give these, like, we can do that, can't we? I think they need to have that, I think. So this is obviously very high level. There's going to be a lot more involved. Let's take that. Obviously going to be a lot more involved than just this. Let's go to Cypress.io. It is just Cypress.io, isn't it? This should be ran before each test. Okay. All right, I'm happy with that. Let's submit that. Whoa. Hey, thank you for joining the chat. Good. Oh, I see. You could wrap it in a DB transaction. Yeah, so that's a very good point. I'm using codeception. And with Codeception, if I have a look at if I show you the acceptance suite, what it's doing is it's running a cleanup and a populate. That's the dump of the DB, and that's the command of the populator to populate the database for each one, for each test. And that's my Gherkin config. So it's already doing that. It's doing that for, I think it's doing that for acceptance. I think that's also doing it for the integration. Yeah. It's not doing that for units though, because it doesn't need to. You shouldn't be testing against your database on a unit test. But I know with Cypress there's a way of somewhere in the docs there is, do we have a search on here? Somewhere in here there is something to do with databases, and it's running a script before, and that script will be basically the dump or the restore of the database. But I really like Codeception. I really do like Codeception. It's such a good testing framework. It's so good, so smart, and it integrates really well with Symfony and other things as well. You've got you even got Falcon, Lumen. There's all sorts of stuff that it works with. Some of these I don't even know. Mezio? I've never heard of that. I've heard of Yi. Yeah, and it's you can do API testing as well, which is so good. Right, so if you've got an API, you can test the test your endpoints and test the JSON structure. You know, to make sure that the ID is an integer and the name is a string, and the email is a string that must be an email. You know, it's so nice. It's such a nice tool for PHP. And then with the working with a database, yeah, this is essentially what I've done, is to create a populator that dumps the database for each test. Such a good way of doing it. Such a good way of doing it. My push to Cypress from Selenium, is essentially that. My push to use Cypress instead of Codeception for acceptance tests is to move away from Selenium and get onto some JavaScript and some Node, because it's much faster. I mean, we're still testing this, right? That's still going on. So. And yes, we're running in dev mode, so the caching isn't enabled, so there is that. But we must be nearing the end. Whilst it goes through, I'm going to have just a little gander around these issues and just see if there's anything I can alter. These are deprecated warnings, so I probably should look at those at some point. There's a lot of deprecated warnings. You're probably going to have to add more to these, aren't I? Let's have a look at that one. That's pretty juicy. Methinks I'm going to have to do a lot of work before we get to Symfony 6. Deprecated warning. Can't configure roots since using type root collection for argument 1 method configure roots is deprecated. Use right. So we're saying here since 5.1. The using type blah 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 for argument 1 of method is deprecated. Is there any? Right, so as long as they're still deprecated and still in use, then that's fine. So these could break. Though I don't think they will. From 5.3 to 5.3 to 5.4. Okay. Course image on mobile view is in the wrong position. List of lessons should be scrollable. God, I haven't fixed that yet. Jeez. Pagination missing from courses. Yeah, okay, I know that. Update the course data fixture to include all courses and tutorials. Oh yeah, I remember this one. This one's a mighty big chunk of work. Because yeah, it's converting all of the courses from PHP to YAML in the fixtures. That's quite a big job. Okay, what's next? Update course. Yeah, done that. Store and restore DB. Allow customers to cancel subscriptions. There is a pull request for that. That's quite a big change. Alright, I won't merge that in. Not yet. I'll have to review my own work. How are we getting on? Hey, yay, they've all passed. Okay, so 48 as tests have done. 2 are incomplete. And we have some deprecated notices here. Okay, that's fine. I think we're good enough to do the update. Composer update. Here we go. So we're doing the update without dry run. So this is actually doing the update. There we go. Downloading all the things. I mean, if we just get to this point, I'll be happy. It's an awful lot of change. This is the problem when you leave a project for a while and you come back to it like 6 weeks later. There's so much change, especially if at the point in which you left it was outdated to begin with. And I really want to get on to Symfony 6, or at least get this as compatible to Symfony 6 as quickly as I can. So to do that, it needs to be Symfony 5.4, and then I need to fix all those deprecated issues. I'm sure there'll be even more deprecated issues when I get to 5.4, and then there is a script that I need to run to adjust the data types that Symfony have kindly given us. And yeah. But it's going to be a long road. Probably won't happen this side of this year. Not to completion, at least. I need like a little box, don't I? Something in this office that has this running on has dry run running on a cron, sending me an email whenever there's a alteration, an update. Or I could probably use GitHub to do that. Let me see if there is a way of doing that, using like GitHub Actions to notify of a composer change. I'm sure there must be a way of doing that. GitHub Action, GitHub Action Composer dry run. There must be a way to do this. guess you would just run dry run, right? That's not it. Is there a way? Alright, first of all, let's break this challenge up into a couple of parts. The first one is to run dry run, and that's perfectly doable. Oh, it's done. Alright, so whilst that goes off, I will run make tests again whilst I fall down this other rabbit hole. So now we're running make tests. Let's see what has actually changed. Let me just spin up another shell. Let's get into there and do a git status. Composer lock, composer JSON, Symfony lock. And the external code notes is completely irrelevant to this. That's fine, that's cool. Nothing else is like screwed around with the packages or anything. Nothing massive has changed. So we'll just run those tests. But what I'm interested in now, I'm going off on a bit of a tangent, is I want to see if there's a GitHub action I can do. So we got workflows here. So this one, for instance, is the GitHub action for a feature branch. So once I push this up to GitHub, once I push this feature branch up to GitHub, it will run this action. So it will run against Ubuntu, and that's the PHP 8. That's what it'll run. And it'll do a bunch of these things, basically the stuff in my make file. But the one I want to play with is this one, composer install, but instead of install, it's composer update dry run. So that could happen. Can it happen though on a cron? That's first thing to work out. I'm sure it can. So GitHub action run on a cron. Run your GitHub actions on a schedule. The schedule event lets you define a schedule for a workflow to run on. Using the cron syntax, you basically tell GitHub, run this workflow independently of any activity on the repo. Just run it on my schedule. That is exactly what I want it to do. So that runs every 5 minutes, right? Yeah. Interesting. Okay. All right. So this is an example of running against a stale bits and pieces, right? In GitHub, like, okay. Okay, so we can do that. So we can run a dry run on every in a cron. That's fine. This one here is saying they are create an issue. Wouldn't that be awesome if I could run a cron and then create an issue to say this package needs to be updated, a bit like Dependabot. In fact, can I just use Dependabot? Maybe I'm overcomplicating this. Is it Dependabot? I don't know, Dependabot Composer, maybe? PHP Dependabot. How it works, features, languages, customers, pricing, blog. Oh dear, what's pricing all about? Dependabot has been acquired by GitHub and is now free. Nice. Okay, yeah, so it does run PHP. Okay, maybe I'm typically me, overcomplicating it. So Dependabot has PHP features since 2017. I thought it was just a JavaScript thing. Okay. By default, Dependabot will create PRs against your default branch and label them as dependencies. Right, so how do I get this running? Because that, I want that. I want that. I want to be reminded of when things are out of date. How would I do that? Settings, integrate deployment key actions, manage security branches, webhooks, notifications, actions. Ooh. Basically just
hello coders.
Stabbing in the dark here, aren't I? There must be a way to do this. Hey, Vinny G. Is it Vinny G or VinCC? I can't see the text. Thank you for subscribing. I really appreciate that. I don't know if you're watching this or seeing another one of my videos, but thank you very much for subscribing. I appreciate that. All right. Come on. I feel like this should be pretty damn straightforward. So, isn't there any kind of documentation? Thank you. Oh, sweet. There's a config file. I like my config files. Package manager. What is required? Directories, update schedule, target branch, default reviewers. Example of a package manager. Right, submodules. Okay, no, we don't need to worry about that. Even does Terraform, look. This is exciting. Here we go. Available schedules. Only supported the following managers. PHP Composer. There she is. Excellent. So package manager, you would put in PHP :composer. That would be the directory, and then you would give it an update schedule. Ooh, suits you. Right, I am going to make this as a little ticket for myself. I'm getting excited here. That will make my life so much easier. Right, what am I doing? Issues. Here we go. So put it as a new feature. No, yes, put it as a feature request. So it's on other. Create a. How do you spell this thing? Is it depend a bot for PHP? Okay, let's make some decisions. So feature details. It should run once a week. It should create a ticket or an issue. Sorry, I've been working with Asana and Jira, or well, Asana is Jira, isn't it? I've been working with Asana today. It should create an issue, not ticket. It should create a GitHub issue. GitHub. I mean, it probably does this out of the box, right? Whenever there is a upgrade. Yeah. So once a week. That is cool. And I got a feeling this will automatically send me an email as well, which is cool. I've got to be careful, of course, because it was a couple of months back. It was probably about 4 months ago that I ran out of my action space, my GitHub action space, because there was too many things going, because I had some time off, so I was just creating a load of code and sending it to GitHub, and GitHub was doing all sorts of actions. I've got actions that create Docker images and all sorts of stuff, and my GitHub, my minutes, my build minutes, ran out, which meant that none of my Docker images were being built, which was a sad time. So I have to be careful with this. I might have to bump that up to like once a fortnight or something. Because what this will do, of course, is it will we go back over to here, it will now, is this gonna, because I don't know, because this requires, I might be able to get away with that. Yeah, okay, yeah, I might be able to. All I'm doing is a dry run, right? Let's just have a look and see what the makefile's doing. I'm sure that's all it's doing. Yeah, it's just doing a dry run, that's it. I can even use this composer image that I've got. I have my own composer image from, my own How to Code Well composer image. I could probably use that, to be fair. Can I? Can I do that? There was something here, wasn't there? Docker. So I wonder if there's an example of. No, it's just that. Docker. What's that? Okay, dependabot extracts the tags from in your Docker file and checks whether it's not from that though. It's from a private Docker. We want update. Dependabot now supports private registries. Man, I should have known about this a long time ago. I'm just finding this out. I know that this was a thing for JavaScript, but I never knew that this was available for PHP or anything else for that matter. I'm wondering if the reason why I want to use my own Docker image is because there are certain extensions that are enabled. Although I'm not sure if that is required for an update. It's for install, I know that. Anyway, get back into the tests. What are we doing? We're back onto the old acceptance. Okay, so commands have passed. To be fair, the script would just die if none of this passed. So the unit tests, what's that? Integration tests have passed. This looks like unit tests, doesn't it? Yeah, and all that jazz is done. And then we should get back to the upgrade. Yeah, okay, cool. So how far do we think we've got left to go? Probably over halfway. But it's looking good. I'm liking this. I'm liking that. Create a dependabot action for PHP. I'm tempted to do a bit of this whilst we wait. I know I shouldn't. I suppose I could git stash it, couldn't I? It's a new toy. I want to play with it. It's not massive, is it? It's not a massive thing. Update configs, package manager, submodules. That would be PHP Composer. How would I test this? How would I suppose I would just have to wait for a week. So update scheduled daily. Didn't they say that we could actually put in the cron and etab? Maybe not. Default milestone. Milestone to set your dependency updates on the pull request. Oh right, okay, so this is like the milestone in GitHub, is it? And you can also apply labels. Oh, cool. Look at that. Assign default reviewers. It's just me, so it's not a problem. The branch, that's cool. We don't use git flow, so it would just be main, running against main. allowed updates. Limit which updates are allowed. Oh right, so I can cool. So I can say like only limit this to Symfony updates or Stripe updates or something, where we have the dependency name and the type. Huh. Oh, that's clever. We can deal with version requirements. Man, oh wow, you can actually put in commit messages as well. Oh, I'm impressed. I'm impressed. Call me impressed. I'm impressed. How are we getting on? Come on, I want to knock this up to PHP to Symfony 5.4 now. Come on. Let's get rid of that. I suppose I could. I'm not hurting it. I'm not damaging it. Let's do this. I'm not changing the database. I suppose I could do it and stash the change. I suppose what I should do is just do a git commit of this stuff. So m so it's composer JSON, composer lock, and Symfony lock. Just to get those out of the way. Obviously, if any of these tests fail, we'll revert, but in the meantime, I'm going to create a how did they do this? How did they start this? How to set up GitHub native version. If you're new to Dependabot, learn how to use the native version. Okay. Enabling and disabling version updates. You can configure your repository so that Dependabot automatically updates your packages you use. Don't want to do an automatic update. Maybe this is taking me down another rabbit hole. Yeah, I think it's taking me down another little rabbit hole here. Because we are away from the Dependabot. Is this still Dependabot.yaml? It is, okay. You must store this file in .github. Alright. And so what this is doing then is you specify the package. So maintain dependencies for GitHub Actions. For NPM, sorry, there we go, and Composer. Package ecosystem. So yeah, that I shouldn't be looking at that anymore. I should be looking at the GitHub thing. So what I want to double check on is whether or not this is actually going to make the change. You must define the location of the package manifest for each package manager, for example, package.json or gem file. If you define relative to the root of the ecosystem, for example, set the directory to / to check out the workflow in the GitHub. Right. Okay, so that might be interesting. That's the schedule interval. We know about that. By default, all dependencies that are explicitly defined in a manifest or log file are kept up to date. Okay. You can use allow and ignore to customize the dependencies to maintain. I don't want to do it. I don't want to actively update the dependencies though. I want to be in control of this. Is there a way I can prevent that from happening? Oh, actually, no. Thinking about it, it'll just create a pull request, won't it? So it's not actually going to update master or main. It's just a PR. Wow, that's kind of scary but useful. Dependabot attempts to detect your commit message preferences. Does it go through the history of our commit messages and tries to determine a common right. By default, all dependencies are explicitly defined in a manifest or log file are kept up to date. You can use allow or ignore to ignore. Okay, fine. So I do think it is just a simple little file, which is dependabot.yaml. Yeah, I do think it is that. So it'll be in here, or will it be in the where does it go? In GitHub. Okay, fine. So in here, new file, depend abot.yaml. Okay, happy with that. And then it's kind of like that, isn't it? File stored in the repository root, yeah, directory, schedule daily. So what we want to do is do it weekly. Runs once a week by default on Monday. That's fine. I don't think we need to worry about allowing any bits and pieces. Commit message. Just having it running would be awesome. Oh, that's cool. Ignore, Express, Lodash, and AWS SDK. Package managers with package ecosystem value, Mandala, Mix, and pip. No, I don't need to worry about that. Labels. By default, Dependabot will raise all pull requests with dependencies labels. That's fine. Happy with that. Milestone. Don't need to worry about milestones. By default, Dependabot opens a maximum of 5 pull requests for version updates. Once there are 5 pull requests, new requests are blocked until you merge or close some of the open pull requests. After a new pull request is opened on subsequent... Okay, no, I don't... that's fine, I think. Alright, so that's private registries. That's good to know. I might as well just add myself as a reviewer, right? I mean, may as well. Don't need to worry about scheduling for times and dates, that's fine. Target branch is going to be the default main. That should be fine. By default, dependent bot checks the manifest for the default branch, which would be main. Vendor, using the vendor option, tell dependent bot vendor dependencies to vendor dependencies when using them. That doesn't make sense. Don't use this option if you're using. Don't really know what that. Raise pull requests to the updated vendor dependencies, which are checked in the. I don't think I need to worry about that. Customize the manifest version strategy. There's a lot of things we can do here, isn't there? Composer repository type supports username and password. Okay, so that's right. So that's private stuff. There's low. Okay. I think we're good with that. As it stands. Right, how are we getting on with these tests? Those tests have all passed. Wonderful news. So I'm going to do a git stash save here. So we're just going to save the dependabot config. Just going to save that. Right, now what we're going to do is we're going to change stuff. In composer.json here, we're going to take a look at Symfony 5.4. So wherever it says Symfony 5.3, we want to change that to 5.4. So I am going to do a control, is it R? Yeah, command R. Search for U, change that to 5.4. I'm going to replace all. And I'm going to do a git commit directory, and we're going to just have a look at the diff. Just make sure that I've only touched Symfony. So that is looking good. That is looking good. The runtime. Yep, there's nothing. I suppose I should be just looking at this side, right? So I just want to make sure that everything is just Symfony. I haven't touched anything else. There's no dependency that just suddenly happens to have 5. So that hasn't taken into account that yet. Okay. And that's been changed. Okay. All right, that's good. So let's come out of that for a minute. Let's have a look at 5.3. Right, that needs to be 5.4. That needs to be 5.4. I think. There's only one way to find out, right? Good. Slightly nervous. Slightly nervous. Right, let's do... Oops. Let's do a quick diff on that. Nothing out of the ordinary. 5.4, 5.4. 5.4, 5.4, 5.4, 5.3, 5.4. All right. Okay, let's now do a make Composer install. Fingers crossed this works. If not, I've already well, I haven't pushed it up, have I? Let's do a git push. So if anything happens, we know that we've upgraded 5.3 at least, and all the other dependencies. And that's been pushed, so that's good. Right, unfortunately the time has defeated me, so I'll let this run through, and I'll basically do this tonight. This is what my evening is going to be about, just rinse and repeat, making sure these tests run. But I need to dive off now because it's way past streaming time. Thank you ever so much, everyone, for watching, and I will be back on Thursday for the podcast. So that's 8 o'clock British summertime, and I'll see you there.